Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bernd Christian Giels coming to you once again on my lovely YouTube channel, launched on June 25th of this year. Today is a very busy day. I will have more than one episode uploaded by the end of the day. And today, for the first episode, I'm going to be sharing a bit of my artistic and entertainer self by sharing a short little poem, in a sense, that I wrote about these days, these summer days of 2020. For those of you who are wondering, first and foremost, Hercules is not sitting next to me right now supervising me. He has taken the day off because he wanted to get some of his own rejuvenation these days. So I am doing this presentation with no supervision whatsoever. So, if I make a fool of myself, it will not be because Hercules didn't try enough to supervise me. So, as you can probably see, yes, I am outside enjoying the lovely, beautiful air of Cape Cod on another July day. Thankfully, the mosquitoes are not out in full force yet. We had some pretty dry weather recently, so that was not conducive to mosquito growth. And for that, I am greatly appreciative of Mother Nature giving us that dry spell, however brief it was, even if it was a little bit of a stress on the local trees and flowers. So, as you can see behind me, it's very lush green here on the Cape now, a lot of great places to visit, and a lot of the people who were here this past weekend for the annual 4th of July holiday weekend have now departed and are going back to states as far-flung as Virginia and Pennsylvania. And I even saw a plate from Georgia driving around today while here on the Cape in Massachusetts. So, as I said, the piece that I am going to read to you today and then sing thereafter is titled These Days. And this piece, which I wrote this morning, is in honor of this very unusual and challenging era that is also known as Summer 2020. So I'm going to do my best to speak over whatever background noise there might be. If anything comes along that's very loud, I will pause to ensure that you can hear me well. I am still learning how to effectively record these episodes on my laptop without the benefit of my own dedicated personal studio indoors. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources at this moment to pay for my own recording studio, nor do I have the space in my home to do that at this time. So, for now, this is what I'm settling for, and I welcome you all to wait patiently as I continue to work on finding a better recording environment. So, and I am going to read this because I don't yet have it memorized. So this is, as I said, These Days, written today, Monday, July 6th, 2020. These days, these summer days, these tragic summer days, these tragic summer days race and crawl. These tragic summer days race and crawl such that we all wonder, what is next? What indeed is next? These days, these summer days, these eventful summer days, these all too eventful summer days. These eventful days filled with so much pain and loss and strife and beauty. These days, these summer days, these beautiful summer days. Flowers abound, and yet we frown. Trees of green for all to see, while so many yearn to be free. Free of worry, free of pain, free of the common, all too often heard refrain: wear a mask! These days, these summer days, these confusing summer days, these confusing summer days for us all, so many stories that we fall down into darkness, treading through fear, wondering about all the people that we hold dear. Confusion reigns, anxiety persists, anger grows as we resist these summer days. These days, these summer days, so precious, so few, as beautiful as a morning dew, so lively, so subdued, so enticing, so imbued with joy, with sadness, with light, with green. These days, these summer days, these momentous summer days. Children wait to play, students come to say, when will we learn again? Where have my teachers gone? Why is the world upside down? Will my dreams forever die? So many ask as they cry, out for a world they miss, where their beloveds they can kiss. Sun and moon travel the sky, telling all to fly, deep into a fantasy of delight, such that we all will fight these tragic summer days. These days, these summer days, these fleeting summer days, bustling here and there, some race to fight despair, others sit and moan, feeling so deeply alone. As the mild summer breeze leaves our hearts in a squeeze, pining for a future where we finally suture the wounds of these summer days. So I wrote that piece this morning, like I said, and I wrote it because these summer days of this year, 2020, are unlike any summer days that I have experienced in all the years of my life. Only the very oldest among us, those born who were alive during the Spanish flu pandemic of a century ago, will have any real recollection of that time. And so basically, you're talking about people who have to be at least about 105, 107 years old for them to have any possible memory of the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. So it is incredibly difficult to find living human beings in the year 2020 to regale us with their own stories of what they experienced in the year 1918. And on that note, I want to make a comment about an aspect of this pandemic that I find especially tragic. I've traveled enough and lived long enough and studied enough to agree with the sentiment of many people that this country, the United States of America, has a youth obsessed culture. This culture, this mainstream culture within this country, is very fixated upon all things youth. You see it in the way clothing is marketed. You see it in the names of businesses like Forever 21. And you see it in the way Americans who grow up in the predominant culture understand and relate to death and the reality of our own mortality. One day, each and every one of us is going to die. We don't know the hour that will happen. We don't know the day. We don't know the circumstances that will be the defining moment of our death. We don't know who will be with us, if anyone will be with us in that moment. And what I find so tragic about the pandemic of 2020 is that so many Americans and so many human beings throughout this entire world are dying alone. Elderly people who have lived and walked this earth for decade after decade after decade after decade are dying in their homes and are dying in hospitals without necessarily anyone there to care for them, be with them in that moment of their passing. And just as I think it is a wonderful thing to hope that we all come into this world, that we all are born into this world in a beautiful way, it is also a beautiful, wondrous thing to have the fortune of dying in the way that we choose to die, if possible. And so if people want to have their friends and family with them when they die, I applaud that and support that. If people want to die privately, alone, with not even their partners or their children present, I can respect that as well. But nonetheless, I find it immensely tragic that we are losing so many Americans every day, and that so many of those Americans that we lose every day are the elders who are the carriers of the stories of our past, of stories that we can't necessarily ever rediscover if they're lost forever, if they are not carried into the future by people who will remember them, celebrate them, and share them with others. So in my mourning and my sadness for this current moment, I feel deep sadness that this pandemic is taking so many Americans and so many people throughout the world away from us, and that we are losing so many stories, so many personalities, so many friendships, so many husbands and wives in such an incredibly short time. In what is, in geological terms, the blink of an eye. There is such an incredible amount of death going on right now due to this pandemic. But here in America, we have this very uncomfortable relationship with death. We would rather it be staying in a closed room, something we can tuck out of sight, underneath the bed, in the bedroom closet, or even better yet, evict from our homes completely so that we don't have to ponder the reality of our own personal mortality. So now what I'm going to do in the second half of today's episode is I'm going to go through that piece that I just read But this time, I am going to sing it. And I am going to sing it without having prepared any sheet music. I am going to sing it using notes that come to me as I move through the words. So this will be completely improvisational singing. And if I stutter or pause or make a slip, I will do my best to incorporate it into the piece as it evolves. So I need 5 seconds to hydrate, and then I will begin. One moment, please. All right. Singing and dry mouth do not ever mix. I learned that from the 5 different choruses that I've sung in my life. And I will specify what choruses those were in a forthcoming episode. So, here we are. So once again, from the top, the title, These Days. And I may even have to take a drink while I am actually going through this because it's fairly lengthy. The title, These Days. These days, these summer days, these tragic summer days, these tragic summer days race and crawl. These tragic summer days race and crawl, such that we all wonder what is next. What indeed is next? These days, these summer days, these eventful summer days, these all too eventful summer days, these eventful days filled with so much pain and loss and strife and beauty. These days, these summer days, these beautiful summer days. Flowers abound, and yet we frown. Trees of green for all to see, while so many yearn to be free, free of worry, free of pain, free of the commonly heard refrain. Wear a mask. These days, these summer days, these confusing summer days, these confusing summer days for us all. So many stories that we fall down into darkness, treading through fear, wondering about all the people we hold dear. Confusion reigns, anxiety persists, anger grows as we resist these summer days. These days, these summer days, so precious, so few, as beautiful as a morning dew, so lively, so subdued, so enticing, so imbued with joy, with sadness, with light, with green. These days, these summer days, these momentous summer days. Children wait to play, students come to say, when will we learn again? Where have my teachers gone? Why is the world upside down? Will my dreams forever die? So many ask as they cry out for a world they dearly miss, where their beloveds they can kiss. Sun and moon travel the sky, telling all to fly deep into a fantasy of delight, such that we all will fight these tragic summer days. These days, these summer days, these fleeting summer days, bustling here and there, some race to fight despair, others sit and moan, feeling so deeply alone, as the mild summer breeze leaves our hearts in a squeeze, pining for a future where we finally suture the wounds of these summer days. So, my friends, that was completely improvisational, the singing part was. The writing of this piece this morning was a bit more premeditated. I did have time over the last several days to ponder the words that I put into something as what came to me this morning. So I want to thank all of you for watching this episode number 11, as the insects continue to find me entertaining. I will be back later today with another episode, so I invite you to tune back in to watch that episode as well. And as I said in recent episodes, my plan is to continue to feature new content on a regular basis. I hope to record at least 5 episodes every week. I will not always record every day, but I do plan to upload at a minimum 5 episodes per week. If I have more energy or more ideas come to me, I may do more than that. So I want to thank all of you again for watching. Please tell your friends and family and colleagues about me. Welcome them to tune in. And now that I've done a singing piece, you can promote it by saying, hey, he actually sings as well. He doesn't just sit and talk about deep things to talk about. So this is Baron Christian Giels signing off for today, Monday, July 6th. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.